Sometimes words aren't just words. They're weapons. Today, we're diving into the work of H.L. Mencken, a writer who didn't just report on politics. He took his opponents apart, piece by piece, with language. This is a masterclass in rhetorical combat.
So, let me ask you this. How can a simple footnote, a footnote, be a weapon? Well, when you're dealing with a writer like Mencken, you're about to see that every little detail, no matter how small it seems, is part of the attack. Okay, so it all starts with what I like to call the footnote gambit. Mencken wrote this absolutely blistering essay about defeated, bitter politicians, but he disguised the whole thing as a simple footnote. It's a pretty brilliant way to launch a full-on assault while pretending it's just a little afterthought. And the psychology here is it's perfect. By framing his attack as this casual, oh, by the way, kind of thing, Mencken makes his points feel like they're so obvious they barely even need to be said. That fake modesty makes the whole argument seem undeniable, and that just makes the hit that much harder. You see, this whole technique isn't just about being clever, it's about defining the target with surgical precision. When Mencken talks about a lame duck, he doesn't really care about the technical definition. No, he's dissecting a very specific and, in his opinion, a very dangerous type of personality. And here's the difference, right? On the one hand, you've got the textbook definition, just a politician finishing up their term. Boring. But then look at Mencken's version. He paints this picture of someone whose ambition has literally curdled into a destructive, vengeful rage. He's not talking about a job anymore. He's diagnosing a political sickness. So, how does he land these psychological blows? Well, he's got this signature weapon, this go-to move called bathos. You can think of it as the art of the deliberate anticlimax. It's a tool designed specifically to make powerful, pompous people look absolutely ridiculous. Now, the key here is that it's totally intentional. Bathos is when a writer builds you up, takes you somewhere grand and serious, and then just deliberately, pow, drops you right into the trivial and the absurd. It's not a clumsy mistake, it's a perfectly calculated rhetorical punchline. Okay, check this out. Here's Mencken describing the death of his political archenemy, William Jennings Bryan. Just listen to the details he picks. A very specific temperature, these rolling eyes, and then, out of nowhere, a leaky copper roof. It's just so bizarre, isn't it? Let's just break that down for a second. He starts all polite and proper, then bang, it gets coldly clinical. From there, we go straight into Gothic horror, which is followed by the sterile, bureaucratic detail of a full street address. And the knockout punch, the final, sudden drop into the totally absurd, trivial detail of a plumbing problem, that, right there, is Bathos perfected. All right, now let's zoom in on the full-scale assault on William Jennings Bryan. This is where we see Mencken combine all of his tools to absolutely dismantle his target. He kicks things off with metaphor as straight-up character assassination. He calls Bryan an ambulant boil. Think about that. He's not just calling him a name, he's recasting him as a walking, talking disease, a physical symptom of everything he thought was wrong with democracy. It's grotesque, and it is incredibly effective. And then, look at the words he chooses. He accuses the famously religious Bryan, of all people, of having a colossal lust for revenge. Using the language of sin, lust, against a man who built his entire career on denouncing it, that's a direct shot at the very core of Bryan's public image. And you see this pattern again and again. He writes that Bryan had consecrated himself to reprisals. Consecrated. It's a sacred, holy word, right? But Mencken just twists it, using it to describe a mission of pure political destruction. The irony is just dripping off the page. And finally, he brings out the big guns, just wild, over-the-top hyperbole. He claims Bryan did more damage than Sherman's entire army marching through the South. Now, is he being serious here? Of course not. The comparison is so nuts, so absurd, that the absurdity is the point. It's not an argument anymore, it's a performance of pure contempt. So you might be thinking, okay, this is from 100 years ago. Why does it all still feel so familiar? Well, it's because these techniques, these specific ways of turning words into weapons, they never really went away. They're very much alive on the political stage today. Mencken draws this final, really sharp contrast. Think about it. In a monarchy, right? A prince who wants his father, the king, gone, has to keep those thoughts locked down, hidden behind a polite smile. But in a democracy, oh, it's a completely different story. Those same dark ambitions, that hunger for revenge, it's all broadcast for everyone to see and hear. And that brings us to his ultimate point. Those secret whispers of a royal court become the public declarations of a democracy. These ambitions aren't just spoken. They are, and I quote, bellowed from every stump. It's a performance, it's loud, it's aggressive, and it is entirely public. Now remember, Mencken was writing this a century ago, but you have to admit it sounds incredibly current. So I'll just leave you with this question. Take a look around at our world today. Who's doing the bellowing now?